Hello everybody. So you've probably guessed by the title of the video and what I'm wearing that today I'm going to be reviewing the very first episode of the new CW show Superman and Lois. Let's go. So first I want to address what I'm wearing. It's Superman emblem with a suit jacket. It was either this or a Hawaiian shirt or a hoodie to go over this, so I think this is more Superman than the other things, so yeah, this is where we're at now. It kind of makes me seem more like a news anchor or something. This just in. Superman and Lois debuts on CW. Was it good? Was it bad? Today we find out that and more. Okay, so before I get into the review, I also want to mention that I have not been keeping up with a lot of really any of the previous Arrowverse, CW, DC shows. So, I haven't watched Arrow or The Flash or Supergirl or any of that. So, this is my first introduction to the Arrowverse. I should probably get to that sooner or later, watching through all that stuff to keep up. They haven't mentioned anything that I don't know, anything from the Arrowverse yet in the show, but they may eventually, so that'll be coming up at some point. Right now I'm kind of in a After the Last Airbender stage in my life, trying to watch through that, so, as you can tell from the past few weeks, I've had 3 videos talking about After the Last Airbender. Right now I'm trying to watch Legend of Korra. I've watched the first 2 seasons of that, so that will be coming soon. So once I'm done with that, I'll probably get into the Arrowverse and try to just, talk about it on this channel as I'm going through it. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming soon, sometime-ish. Emphasis on ish. But, yeah, so I've not seen, as of this point, anything besides the first episode of Superman and Lois in the Arrowverse. And I think that kind of tells people who, if you're watching this and you haven't seen anything else in the Arrowverse, that this is a show you don't have to have prior knowledge, at least not at this point. Again, I don't know where this is going, if they're gonna bring stuff in, but as of now, they haven't mentioned anything from outside. So if you haven't seen, like me, if you haven't seen anything from the Arrowverse, then this is a show that you can watch without any knowledge. And if you like Superman, this is definitely a show for you to watch. And, it shows a different take on Superman. So, I don't want to go too much in detail of what that different take is just yet, but it shows a different take on Superman that I think is very interesting, something we haven't seen before. So if you like Superman, you're definitely going to like this show, and that's my non-spoiler review. So to get into more spoilers, some, details throughout it that I liked, I definitely, as I just said in, the non-spoiler portion, I really like how it shows a different take on Superman. Instead of like the classic Clark Kent works at the Daily Planet, oh, Lois is in trouble, take off the glasses, show the emblem, flying around. We have him flying around saving the day, but it's not, he's in a different point of his life. He has, he's married to Lois Lane and he has 2 kids, and they decide to move back to Smallville from Metropolis, and I think that's a really cool new take on Superman that we haven't seen. I'm sure it's somewhere in comics or some other things out there, but in live action, we haven't really seen that take on Superman. I think that's a very interesting thing to explore, of like, what happens now, Superman, he has a family to take care of. How does that affect his, Superman business and stuff? Like, how does that all work? And so I think that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to follow the show, to see, how they, different ways they explore that. And different ways they explore, we find out that, at the end of, towards the end of the episode, we find out that Jordan, his kid, his teenager with social anxiety, he has powers. the whole time you're thinking John, the athlete, the football star, has powers, which I'm not gonna be like, I wouldn't be surprised if we find out eventually that he does also have powers, but as of now, it's just Jordan has powers, which I think was a cool reveal of like, they could have just went with, yeah, obviously the obvious choice, John Kent, he has powers, but instead they have, the kind of nerdy, socially awkward kid, he has the superpowers, and so I think that was an interesting, kind of cool twist on it. And I also like that, when Jordan is kind of suspecting that something went wrong, obviously the catalyst that caused John and Jordan Kent to suspect that their father is Superman is they survive getting a bunch of pipes falling on them, and they survive that unharmed. So they're a bit like, okay, that's a bit weird. And this is kind of something that happens in a lot of shows and movies and stuff where, something weird happens and the characters are immediately like, huh, somebody's not telling us something, and they find out what that thing is. And normally I feel like when, shows do stuff like this, that it's kind of like, why was their first assumption after this that somebody's hiding something from them? Like, why was that their first assumption? And I like that in this one, they kind of explain why. You kind of find out that Jordan, he had this, hero moment come over him where he knew exactly what to do. He shielded John from the pipes, and I think they did a good job there of explaining, like, that's why he thought something was up. Like, he's never felt something like that come over him, but in that moment, he knew exactly what to do. He knew, he knew exactly how to be a hero and, to protect his brother. And so, I think that's cool that, like, it wasn't just like, huh, we survived, there must be something wrong. It's, because I feel like a normal response would be like, okay, that was kind of weird, but it's a miracle. Like, I don't think the first response to, like, real life, like, nobody's first response to that would be, oh, there must be something, somebody's hiding something from us, somebody's first, which, and I guess even the way they do explain it, it is still a little bit like, why the heck does Jordan think that that his father is hiding something from them? Like, why was that his first response still? But I think they explain it a little bit better, where it's not, instead of, the usual, oh, there's something weird happened, there must be somebody's hiding something from us. So, yeah. So I thought that was good, that they kind of added that layer to it. And one kind of negative I have about the show, which, I mean, it's not really that big of a negative, it's just, obviously it's a TV show with a TV budget, so a lot of this CGI, the visual effects and stuff, it wasn't, it wasn't great. Some of it was like, that was a little bit off, and again, that's probably how it is for the rest of the Arrowverse, so, again, I haven't seen the Arrowverse, but I assume that's kind of how it is. It's just kind of that TV budget, superpower effects, CGI and stuff, and also probably part of it is kind of getting spoiled with the Disney Plus shows Mandalorian and WandaVision, where, they're top quality effects and they're just streaming service shows. Like, they're movie quality, but it is just a Disney Plus show. And so I kind of think that's why I was kind of like, about some of the effects was, it's not as big as, Disney can do on Disney Plus. So that's kind of being spoiled with that stuff. So, so that's kind of a bit of a negative, but it's not that big of a deal. And one other thing that I want to talk about is, we see Martha Kent die, which is not I don't think I've ever seen a Superman thing where Martha Kent dies. Again, I'm sure that it's happened in the comics and some other stuff, but I'm sure it's been in some other storylines somewhere in other Superman media. But I, I personally haven't seen anything with Superman where Martha Kent dies. So that was an interesting thing of seeing like what happens now Martha Kent dies, and that's kind of the turning point that brings Clark and Lois, that makes them decide to move back to Smallville to, you know, to take over the farm and stuff. And kind of there's something weird going on with like I wasn't completely like understanding a lot of like what they were really talking about, but like there's something weird going on with like somebody is buying land in Smallville for some reason, and Lois doesn't trust that guy, as being she's like reported stuff about him in the Daily Planet, so she doesn't kind of trust whoever this guy, I don't remember his name, but this guy, there's something weird going on with him, and it's really interesting to see where that goes. So I guess he's kind of a bit of a villain, and then we also have the big villain, the guy in the space costume, who we find out is Lex Luthor, or somebody related to Lex Luthor. All they said was Captain Luthor. I assume Lex Luthor, but I don't know. Could be somebody related to Lex Luthor. But it's probably Lex Luthor in his suit that gives him Superman powers. So that's definitely cool. Definitely interested to see where that is going. And overall, I think that the first episode, the furnace I am filming next to, just turned on, so the audio is probably going to have a little bit of background noise for the rest of the video, but we're just going to have to deal with it. But I just think some closing thoughts on the episode. I think it's a very good episode of a good, introduction to the series. Shows you, what kind of, the setup for it, and gets you excited for where things will go. And again, also, I've said a few times in the video, I have not seen anything else in the Arrowverse at this point, and this is something that I enjoy. So if you're like me and you haven't seen anything in the Arrowverse, but you are a Superman fan, I would definitely recommend this. And yeah, so I think that concludes my review of the first episode of Superman and Lois, and I will probably in the very near future get into the Arrowverse again after Legend of Korra. So anyway, until next time, please comment below your thoughts on Superman and Lois, and remember to like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and with that said, that's a wrap.